This is the third assignment for the fourth quiz. So simplifying, um, I'm sorry, fourth assignment, my bad, of for the fourth quiz, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing with complex numbers. And there is another practice that I have down here that's optional. It looks like this. So if you just wanted more practice, I got to get my overhead going here. This is the optional assignment here, so I don't forget to mention it. If you just want more practice, it's there, and it covers all the standard operations that you need to know. So powers of I, the big one is this here, the I squared, because that's going to come about when we start multiplying complex numbers together, and that when you check your answer back in the quadratic formula, that's going to be the piece that comes up. And notice these remainders over here, that's for reducing powers of I. So you see my example down here, I to the 41 reduces to I, since 41 over 4 equals 10. So there's 10 blocks of this here with a remainder 1. Okay, so a remainder 1 just puts you, that's like saying 1/4, I meant to say. Okay, so remainder 2, 3/4, and then 4/4 would be no remainder. Anyway, a little bit confusing, but as you take this division on your calculator, you would get 10.25. So there's my little reminder again. That means that you look on the 0.25 line and that this would be the same as I. Your calculator will do it, but there's a little bit of error on the calculator, and you got to learn how to read through that. So let me just, so your I button is behind the decimal point there, and if you raise it to the 41st power, what does this mean? -1 e -13 plus I. So this means 0. The 1 e -13, that really means 0 plus I. So you got to know how to read 13 when there's you got to know how to read 0 when there's a little bit of calculator error. So that's really like saying 0 plus I, which is I. Anyway, that was long. So we're just going to divide and see where our remainder is, and that will tell you. So the power on I. So 12 over 4 is 3, no remainder. So this is the same as saying 1. The big one is I squared. So I to the 7th. Okay, when you divide 7 by 4, you get 0.75. Okay, so that is an I to the 3rd, which reduces to -I. So what are our answers that we write? It's either I, or -1, or -I, or 1. Okay, the big one is this right here, -1. That's going to happen over and over and over. Okay, so -I here. And again, you could do this on your calculator. And then try to figure it out, the error with, so that's again 0 minus I, so this means -I there. So you get the idea. On those, you're going to simply divide that power by 4. So I to the 8th plus I to the 9th plus I to the 10th. I would say, on these, I wouldn't completely just rule out using your calculator. I mean, just to get an idea for how to use your I key, which is behind every calculator has an I key. Every calculator has an imaginary index key. So your I is right behind, again, the decimal point on this calculator, but you just have to search it out. You'll find it. Go to a YouTube video, you'll find it. So, all right, there we go. I, 1I. Pretty easy. And so this is 1 plus I minus 1 is what each of those reduce to. So I'll let you mess with those. Powers of I, really pretty simple to do. you're having to, remember that, if you're not using the reference. Okay, so you need to do enough of these so that you understand what does it mean to add and to multiply. And now the division isn't nearly as important, but adding and multiplying is. So adding is just literally like combining like terms. Let me say that again. Adding is literally like combining like terms. Okay, so I'm just going to add together any numbers, and then you treat the i's like terms. So I get a negative 5, and then negative, or 6i plus 6i is 12i. So think of it like an x, and you will easily get the right thing. So here's the answer key, so make sure you're aware of that because I just printed this out. You're checking your final answer. So do on this page enough of these that you're understanding adding and subtracting, so through problem 20, and then the multiplying, and especially ones like 26, especially because that's the FOIL product and this is the big one. Ones like these, and don't get yourself all messed up on ones like these. You got to write it twice and then do the FOIL product. This is how, in the end, we're going to end up checking our work. And then anything else, I don't care if you use your calculator on. I mean, I'll show you the division ones. They're not really too hard. Now let's remember that I squared equals negative 1. So first 2, outer 2, inner 2, last 2. So minus 18i plus 30i minus 36i squared. And now we're just going to combine all of these, knowing that I squared is negative 1. So that makes that positive 36. And then this will be 12i when you add the i's together. And now you got to do negative 15 plus 36, which is 21 plus 12i. Now here's the nice thing. Let me zoom out a little bit. You can actually check this on a calculator. All right, here, let's see, 18i. Oh, that should have been plus. Oh, I'm checking my answer here. My bad, 48i is what we need here. I messed up a sign there. Okay, let me get my act together here. 48i. Now, what I was saying is, and you should, because as you saw, they're simple to make a mistake. You just literally enter it in using your I key. And the calculators will, so negative 3 plus 6i and 5 minus 6i, they will, even scientific calculators, if you get one that has an I key on it, again, the TI 36X Pro is a really good $20 scientific calculator that will do this. And I'm sure the online calculators that I've shown you earlier, I'm not going to do it in this video, will do this work. You're going to check your work. Okay, what about, so FOIL product, I mean, you can do ones like these, which then you'd get a power of I on. Again, anything that doesn't involve this, like a simple product like this. So this is 40i and then plus 48i squared, which, there we go again, the I squared, that's the big one. So 40i minus 48. Anything that doesn't involve a simple product like this or the FOIL product, I'm all right with you using your calculator to simplify it. There's just a whole lot of steps in the simplification game, and I don't want to get real lengthy on this video. So when dividing, you got to multiply the top and bottom by I if it's just a single I term, and then if you are you have a complex, that means a number plus an I term, you got to multiply by its conjugate. This is the work. But I would prefer, for the sake of these, that you use your calculator. It's a lot quicker. So remember that I squared is -1. So on the top we have negative 4i minus 9, and then on the bottom we have 10. Now, what does the calculator look like when you actually do this? So you have to put it in. You don't want to use your fraction entry tool because for some reason it doesn't work. You have to divide like this. Oh, well, plus 9i. And then get your answer, and then over -10i. Okay, so sets of parentheses are on both, and then it will produce this. And then after this, you can use your fraction key to reduce. Oh, it doesn't. Let me try this other one here. That one will, the 2-frac key will. That's not part of the... Oh, I guess it's not. That's weird. Okay. So that's under the math 2-frac. So just taking it to that. There it is. They are, so what the calculator does, and it doesn't matter, it's just running this division through. So negative, divide both of these by 2, -2i over 5 minus 9/10. Answers are the same. Okay, you need to see that though if you're going to do a division problem. We are not going to have division problems on the quiz, but it's good to know how to do them. And here's my advertisement again. Okay, so if you have a complex number on the bottom, you need to multiply by the conjugate. So the conjugate is you change the sign in the middle. And plus 28i squared. And then this is always going to be a number. Let's see here, 64 minus 56i plus 56i minus 49i squared. So what I mean by this is these I terms will drop, and then this will end up being 64 plus 49 because I squared is -1, and that's 113. And so I squared is -1 up there, so this is minus 32i minus 28, so it's just a sign change over 113. So the calculator again is going to do this division out, and you will see it. And I would not worry too much about these. It's good to know how to, oops, I got to do the original one here. Hello. Again, parentheses around the top and the bottom, so you type in the original one, -8 minus 7i. So then it throws that decimal out like that, and then just use your 2-frac key, which is not part of the, and then you see it will generate that. Again, not terribly important, and but they're on the assignment. You can try a couple, but I would definitely check them. Any calculator has an I key on, and you should be able to do this. You should be able to do this with the online calculator also. So do enough of these that you know what you're doing, especially the FOIL product. That's really big. This is here also. These two are very important. The adding and subtracting is very important.